Everybody loves a ripe Georgia peach. Beautiful, wholesome, delicious. But a Georgia peach, like Georgia politics and politicians, can be rotten to the core. How does this happen? How does it start? Perhaps this is a good example. Take Georgia House District 160 and Lehman Franklin, for instance. At first glance, there's a lot to like about Lehman Franklin. Born into a prosperous, business-minded family, graduated from Citadel College, went on to earn an MBA in business from Georgia Southern University. Then 8 years on the mission field with YWAM in South America. All good so far. And upon returning to the States, Lehman started a honey and beekeeping enterprise before hiring on with the family's auto sales business, eventually becoming general sales manager at Franklin Toyota. In 2015, Lehman was named to the board of directors of GATA. That's the Georgia Automobile Dealers Association. This is where it begins to get interesting. Who or what is GATA? Well, simply put, GATA is one of the largest lobbying groups in the state of Georgia. Consider this language from their own website. GATA continuously evaluates and strengthens Georgia franchise law to ensure protection against harmful regulations and cumbersome requirements. Now, you may have thought that the Georgia legislature strengthened or weakened Georgia franchise law, but evidently that's not the case. According to GATA, at least where franchise law is concerned, it's not the legislature, but GATA that assumes this responsibility if we are to believe what their own website has to say. Man, this is one confident lobbying group. Most lobbying groups are content with trying to influence law, but evidently GATA is way past those limitations. But still, if Lehman wants to be a part of GATA, that's only natural for someone in their family's car business. But here is where it gets even more interesting and problematic. You see, in January of 2022, Lehman decided to enter Georgia state politics and throw his hat in the ring for state rep for District 160. In an interview with the GeorgiaVirtue.com, Lehman stated he expected to face 9 or more opponents.
I was anticipating at least 9 to 10 people.
But that didn't happen. As it turned out, Jan Tankersley had announced she was retiring, and as it also turned out, no one else decided to run. So the GOP primary comes around in May. Lehman is unopposed and is the de facto GOP rep for District 160 with no Democratic opponent in the fall. Thus, Lehman is slated to be sworn in January 2023. So in January 2023, District 160 will be represented by a young, energetic, former missionary, business-minded conservative who will be singly focused on the best interest of the good folks in District 160.
Makes me want to do this job even better, to be honest with you.
Right? Well, not exactly. You see, after Lehman secured his spot for District 160, he was named chairman of the board of GATA. So in January of 2023, Lehman will be sworn in to represent the best interests of District 160, but will also be obligated to head up one of the largest lobbying groups in Georgia. Wait a minute, you might ask.
Who'd you talk about?
How can someone represent both the best interests of District 160 and GATA at the same time? Well, the answer is you can't.
It's impossible.
It's a ginormous conflict of interest.
No man can serve two masters.
And close examination of Georgia law begs the question, is it even legal? Picture a seesaw with big fat GATA on one end and much lighter weight District 160 on the other. When a conflict of interest arises, what's bound to happen? You guessed it. lightweight District 160 gets tossed in the air. Come on, Lehman. You can't have it both ways. You can't simultaneously represent District 160 and GATA. It's not only impossible, it's unethical. And really, is it even legal? Now, Lehman may not be rotten to the core, but the path he is on most certainly is. Maybe Lehman has further political ambitions. Maybe one day he aspires to Congress or the Senate or even governor of the great state of Georgia. Well, Lehman, here's an early test of political character. Either resign from GATA or give up the notion of representing District 160. It's not complicated. You can do one or the other, but not both. The road you are on is rotten to the core. The test as to whether you are rotten to the core depends on what you do next. And now, Georgia and the whole world are watching. Do the right thing, Lehman. One or the other, not both. Don't dishonor the great Georgia peach.
This makes me want to do this job even better, to be honest with you, because